get picked up from school. Never mind by whom. At age 6, I was locked out of my house in the 110-degree heat. I had seen bars, bar fights, drug use, alcohol abuse, and violence between my parents. Most people go through life without thinking twice about what they have. They take for granted the little things. Getting to school, eating, having a bed. For me, this was not the case. My mom was reckless. She would party all night and sleep all day. She never made meals or played games. She would be too high to do anything. At the time, these things scared me, but they were also familiar. It was the only life I knew. I can remember that my parents would be fine, and then, with a blink of an eye, fists were flying, things were everywhere, and all I could do was sit there and scream for them to stop. I loved both my parents, but I knew they could not care for me. At the age of 6, I moved in with my half-sister and her husband, both of whom I had never met before. The change was difficult. I didn't know what to call them. Debbie and Bill, Mom and Dad, some other term not yet invented. Regardless, I was welcomed into a new life. A house, clean clothes, even my own room. These things were exceptional, but I was angry. I wanted my real parents to watch me grow up. I wanted a normal life with my mom and dad, not Bill and Debbie replacing them. Throughout my childhood, I had several talks with counselors. Ray would ask, "Do you remember the fighting, the drug use?" I would nod my head yes in reply. I remember it like it was yesterday, but rather than cry about it, I would tell myself, that is not the way I want to live. So now I see my childhood not as a crutch, but as an opportunity. Children tend to follow their parents' footsteps. I watched my mom abuse alcohol and drugs, so was I supposed to follow her example? After all, it is hard to fight genetics. But I strive to do the opposite. I want to be my parents' example. I want them to look up to me. Life is full of challenges. Not all of them pleasant or easy, but even bad experiences can teach you something. Even now, talking on the phone with my mother, I can tell she is sober. While frustrating, it reminds me again that I have to be the example. Maybe that was the reason why I was exposed to such horrible situations. It wasn't the easiest way to learn life lessons, yet I'm thankful for all that I have gone through. Seeing both sides of the spectrum makes me realize how lucky I am to be where I am today. When I was in middle school, I memorized a Bible verse which has remained my life motto. Philippians 4:13 says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." God gives me the strength to be better than my mother and to tolerate her. I had to accept the situations I found myself in and learn how to use them to grow. Despite my childhood, I could not be happier with who I am. I do not need pity or sympathy, because if I were given the opportunity to change the way I grew up, I wouldn't change a thing. Thank you.